What kind of employee should I be? Well, according to Colossians 3:23-24, it says to work willingly at whatever you do, as though you were working for the Lord rather than for people. Remember that the Lord will give you an inheritance as your reward, and that the master you're serving is Jesus Christ himself. This is a powerful scripture that lines up what the heart of a Christian should be as an employee. And the story of Joseph provides a great model for believers to follow as they honor God with their employment. God was with Joseph, and God blessed everything he did because he humbly served and did so without complaining. Let me say that again. He served humbly, and he did it without complaining. You see, Joseph's brothers actually abused him, sold him into slavery, and yet he humbly forgave them. His life circumstances put him literally in a pit and into slavery, yet he always chose to trust God. We can learn three principles from Joseph's example. One is to work hard and to work willingly. You see, as a slave, Joseph didn't receive payment for his work, yet he worked hard and he honored God through his efforts. So we should be working in a way that honors God with everything that we accomplish. If you work as though you're working unto the Lord, he will reward you according to Colossians 3. The second thing is to have integrity and to be completely trustworthy. Joseph honored God with his work even when no one was looking. In fact, the only time that he ever disobeyed an authority was because that authority asked him to outright sin before the Lord. Joseph administrated responsibly everything in Potiphar's house, and he had respect in the prison, and he had great authority under Pharaoh. All of that came, the honor and responsibility, because he was trustworthy, because he acted as an employee before the Lord, not before man. The third way is to remain humble and ready to use your gifts at all time. God has given you specific gifts. Potiphar's wife wrongly accused Joseph, and Potiphar put Joseph in jail where he was forgotten. And you can read this whole story in Genesis 40. But even when Joseph was in jail, he remained humble and he used his gifts, regardless of the circumstance. Eventually, Pharaoh made him a ruler over everything, the entire land of Egypt. Only Pharaoh had a higher rank than Joseph. You see, when we're faithful with a little in the pit, in the prison, we will be rewarded and given more. The fourth thing is to be quick to listen and slow to speak. Now, I know that this can be a hard one. Joseph was not a natural-born Egyptian. He had to learn the cultural expectations. He had to learn the customs of the land, how to operate, how to interact. Yet, he spoke humbly and kindly to those in authority over him. If you practice listening to what others have to say, then you will learn to grow in wisdom. The fifth thing is to know your responsibilities and to do them well. Working in a lazy way leads to hardship and fruitlessness in our lives. We see this all throughout the book of Proverbs. But when we do our work eagerly and joyfully, we honor God and we make Jesus attractive to other people. Remember, the goal of our entire lives is to win others over to Christ. Your coworkers might come to know the Lord just by seeing your work ethic, seeing the way that you take your responsibilities and honor God in the way that you are an employee. Completing your work in a timely manner, being excellent in everything you do, it shows that you care about your responsibilities. Now, the sixth thing is to acknowledge that God is the owner. Psalm 24:1 reminds us that the earth and everything in it belongs to God. We're simply stewards of what He owns. God has given us the responsibility to treat people the same way He would treat people. The way to manage resources is the same way He would manage resources. Jesus one day will return, and He'll call us to give an account for all that we've done. You can read about this account in Matthew 25 as Jesus goes away, the Master goes away and comes back one day. What will that look like? So I want to encourage you as an employee of the Lord, do your work in a way that will honor God, and that one day when He returns, He will say, "Well done, good and faithful servant." Now I want to give you some time to answer these questions. First, read Genesis 39 through 41. See the whole story of Joseph. How did Joseph honor God, and how did God bless him in return? 2, how can we gain wisdom according to Proverbs 19, verse 20? And 3, read Philippians 2, 3 to 4 and 14 to 15. How should we treat our coworkers?